This dashcam video shows traffic moving normally across 4 unobstructed lanes when out of nowhere a woman appears in front of a black pickup truck. She keeps walking to the other side like nothing is wrong. The black pickup truck definitely hits its brakes, and the car behind them does so as well, which seems like a realistic response. Then again, there's clearly a red stoplight up ahead, so maybe they were braking for that instead. I don't know why this video is void of color. I'm assuming it's because black and white video would take up less space on the dashcam memory card, but it's safe to say that only a ghost would be able to do what this woman does. This mini golf course is haunted by so many golfers who didn't win their round. Published to YouTube by Urban Ghosts Urban Exploration in April of 2021, Joe, Rob, and Kate are up for a course in fear as they explore this abandoned mini golf in the middle of a lightning storm. The whole thing kicks off with nothing but whispers. In the beginning, as they explore a room that's been torn apart, you can hear this whispering in the background. As they continue to explore, there's another voice that sounds like it says, "That's creepy," as they come across a stuffed teddy bear. Joe notes that the teddy bear wasn't here when he last visited the place. As they move glass off the teddy a short while later, 2 distinct knocks are heard. Despite this, they continue exploring. At this point, in a darkened room, 2 lights shine clearly above Joe's head, but these could either be a passing vehicle's headlights shining through a window, or they might be from one of the crew's devices. At the same time, it sounds like a faint voice is heard.
Either road noise or somebody potentially walking around out there, and I think it's a little whisper.
As Joe is talking a short while later, something or someone is heard speaking over him.
Necrophonic app, I'm gonna turn.
The voice is loud but muddled, and the crew seems to have heard it coming from outside the room. They decide to explore the ceiling air shaft. For a moment, you can hear weird laughter.
Who's up there?
Later, while filming inside the same air shaft, a distinct boom is heard which causes Kate to let out a terrifying scream. This, of course, scares the entire crew. Later, whispers are heard in the air shaft again. Then they film up inside the air shaft. This is when you can hear a muffled female voice. It sounds like it's saying "move on back" shortly after. Another knocking sound. The crew believes there's a spirit up in the air shaft. They are listening deeply, and at this point it sounds like a woman singing, but they don't appear to hear her on site. YouTuber Stella Gomez also notes that the sunray has been moved against the wall at the end of the video. It wasn't there to begin with, so unless the crew moved it, then who did? Being as they usually don't disturb anything, its movement is all the more disturbing. Is the lady in the air shaft toying around with them? You live in a lovely neighborhood, safe streets, beautiful lawns, basically a live-action Pleasantville. There's just one thing wrong. You have psychotic neighbors. This entry is about a neighbor who sought revenge, although it was her own daughter who started the one-way feud. The neighbor girl, who we'll call Laura Chamberlain, was invited over by Kendall Holloway's daughter to play. Only Laura's idea of playing was to douse her host's hair in nail polish. Kendall talked to Laura's mother about the conflict, and her response was to harass the Holloway family for 5 straight years. This harassment manifested in many forms, including taunting Kendall, who was recovering from a drinking problem, by saying she should have passed away. Well, this is terrible enough. A restraining order was only granted when Chamberlain drove a remote-controlled car into the Holloway son's birthday party while shouting. This didn't stop the scary neighbor. The Holloways took her to court for violating her restraining order. while Chamberlain cited First Amendment, claiming she did not violate the restraining order of crossing over to the Holloway's property. Unsurprisingly, that didn't stand, and Chamberlain was given 90 days behind bars, along with years of probation, for which she could not be within a mile of the Holloway's property, meaning she was no longer their neighbor. That's one scary neighbor who got what she deserved. This security footage shows a strange moving blur that distorts large sections of the floor as it passes by. A short while later, someone appears to be shoved from behind while walking by. It's odd how they lose their balance while walking across the exact same part of the floor. That was blurry only moments earlier. Also notice how, for whatever reason, they immediately look down at the floor. Could they possibly be seeing something with their own eyes that the camera doesn't detect? Warning, don't enter a dark and disturbing abandoned house at night. Posted by Ka Records in 2010, the team is exploring an abandoned house at night when they zoom in on a corner of the room. In that dark corner, behind various obstructions, appears a creepy girl doll. The disturbing sight causes them to race from the room. Wouldn't you? I don't think they had any other choice. Worms aren't only found in insects. They can also be found in that next bell pepper you buy from the produce aisle. The uploader writes, "That thing was in a pepper. Looks like he wants to grow in someone's gut, lol." What is that thing? The thing looks like a tapeworm, but according to Snopes, the worm inside the pepper actually isn't that dangerous. The viral video came to light in August of 2019. The stringy worm moving inside the pepper was something a lot of viewers couldn't unsee apparently, and many saw it, as it was reposted on Facebook a million times, with viewers warning about the worm. Some posts warned that the worm was called Symbla Merch, and that it was a new type of worm that delves into moist areas of the body, resulting in possibly passing away. The claims, however, like so many posts on Facebook, were inaccurate. One said it might be a horsehair worm, which we talked about in the previous parasite entry, but adult horsehair worms are darker. Even the original message was false. This is not a new type of worm. It's been around since the dawn of time. Lesson learned, clean and prepare your green peppers properly, but still eat them. Another lesson learned, when you find a suitcase with a pentagram inside, you should probably let it be. Published by Paranormal Point in February of 2022. While looking at this mysterious collection, Maxim doesn't realize he's standing alongside evil.
Ух, ё. Друзья, я не ошибаюсь. Это же вроде пентаграмма.
Soon the door closes at the end of the hall, and he can't open it.
Ах, черт. Я почему-то не могу ее сейчас открыть.
After he lights the pentagram, things only get stranger from there. When he asks who's there, this is the response.
Кто здесь?
And soon the demon isn't answering any more questions. What is in this basement with Maxim? And will it let him out? Two men go into an internet cafe early in the morning with a few pro tools and the worst of intentions. Hardly anyone is there, and even if the place were busy, it wouldn't matter because they've got their routine down to a science. They pick two seats midway down so as not to look obvious. One of them acts like they're going online, but what he's really doing is helping to cover the movements of his friend, who has already unscrewed the casing of the computer and is now working on the floor bolts that are holding it down. There's a wall on his side, so if you worked there, it would be like he was digging through a backpack or something. Something walks by them at 28 seconds and is too busy on their phone to notice what they're up to. They act like they are looking at something on the same screen as the entire uncased computer gets put into a large plastic bag. They put the empty computer case back to make it look like nothing is out of place. They can't just walk out of there with a big obvious computer-shaped plastic bag, so they take it into the bathroom and dismantle the computer for valuable spare parts and throw the rest in the trash. The clerk has no idea what they've done, not even glancing up as they briskly walk out with top-of-the-line video cards, RAM, and other hardware to sell. Clearly, this isn't their first time, but this time they were caught on camera. A YouTube channel called Mux9 TV goes exploring some extra scary woods in Pakistan late at night when they find some really creepy stuff that leaves them really freaked out.
कौन हो तुम?
Out of the woods staggers a mysterious figure who refuses to speak for a long time. His eyes look haunting, like he's seen too much in too short a time and has been wandering for days, unable to get it out of his mind. The group does not know how else to help this person, and so they recite some words of faith over him, which works to the extent of scaring him away back to wherever he came from. This doesn't look like a ghost sighting so much as the aftermath of a person who has had a paranormal experience of their own in the forest and has succumbed to madness in the days since. Either way, they're definitely not the type of person you'd want to encounter in the woods, so I bet the group is relieved when he runs away, but at the same time, he could probably use some help. Hopefully he finds peace, but with that scary stare, I don't see how such a thing is going to be possible. Located in South Carolina, YouTuber Mo Sargi claims that this is the original Crybaby Bridge. Mo finds he isn't the first to check it out and won't be the last.
I just found a Ouija board on the Crybaby Bridge. What? It's wet. That is crazy. I just found a Ouija board.
After finding this homemade Ouija board, a strange truck starts stalking Mo and his team.
Yeah, that's the same truck.
He's getting weird.
Oh, stop. Need to stop. Oh, he's come back.
They return to their investigation, but after asking too many questions, they're met with a vice grip.
Did you love your husband?
What the f is that? What the f? Something grabbed my neck. Grabbed your neck?
Did the female ghost react negatively to this question? As they consider leaving, they sense a presence on the bridge.
I felt something walking over here, bro.
It's just watching us the entire time. It touched me! Oh.
I guess it's time to go. I believe Mo pushed the Crybaby Bridge ghost too far. She didn't like his nosiness, and she took it out on him. He is lucky he didn't become the next ghost to haunt this place. Don't look behind you. This scary video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. After witnessing something terrifying, this man flees to his car, but that something is there waiting for him. The creepy video, originally posted to TikTok by elkakoi.tv, also reveals what initially scared the man. But as we already know how it ends, the man clearly has nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. If I were him, I'd be getting the heck out of that house ASAP. If you're looking for a haunted location, your best bet is to choose somewhere with a scary history. Steve Ronan, an American urban explorer, traveled to the United Kingdom to investigate a Victorian-style mansion believed to be the site of a gruesome taking of life. Despite its longevity, the event took place in 2006 when then homeowner Christopher Lumsden ended his wife's life in a jealous rage. She had allegedly just returned from dinner with her lover when the incident occurred. Despite the viciousness of the event, Lumsden only served 5.5 years when he was released on license, the British legal system's equivalent of parole. Intrigued by the story, Ronan decided to investigate at the home in order to see if he could come up with answers. Upon arrival, the front of the house is littered with large trash, including several beds, some broken walls, and what appears to be clothing. At the time the video was filmed, renovations were ongoing to prepare the house to be put up for sale. It is unknown if the trash was from the house itself or was left there randomly, but it would be strange if so many pieces of clothing were left behind. The first bit of the video is Ronan and his team exploring the house, finding it in a state of disrepair. At one point, they find a strange piece of wallpaper on the floor. The same system is seen covering the walls of a room. Written on it are various strange phrases, including Carpe Diem Dungeons Fire, Jungle Truth or Dare Power. What this means is a mystery, and it's a strange design to have as a wallpaper. Things quickly take a turn for the creepy when they find a red stain on the floor of one of the rooms in front of a dresser. On closer inspection, it is a sizable red blot stained into the floorboard that was once beneath the now torn up carpet. It definitely is believable that it's what we're all thinking, since the coloration does resemble when such a stain has aged over time. One of the crew decides to shine a UV light on the spot. As he explains, the spot remains visible as a dark purple under the light, instead of blending into the floor. Also, while it is not mentioned, there are spots that weren't visible when the light wasn't on. Going off the find, they decide to begin a spirit box session in the room. The method they use is simple, as they find a radio and rapidly shift through the channels. After a couple of questions and one false alarm, a voice comes through the static saying, "You were tricked."
You were tricked. Did you just hear you were tricked?
This is strange, as immediately before that, they were discussing whether or not they were deceived into believing another house entirely was the location of the gruesome life-taking. At the beginning of the video, they spoke with a security guard of another residence who claimed the occupied house was the actual location of the incident. However, they were not allowed in and went to this house nearby that is also said to be where the incident happened. Could it be possible they are communicating with something who knows they were tricked? The group hears various answers come through the radio, although admittedly it is hard to hear whether it is actually something answering them or simply words from the radio programs coming through and sounding like answers. Next, the group decides to conduct an EVP session to see if they can hear anything else. During the session, the group hears noises, and something like shuffling is picked up on the EVP. At this time, nobody in the room is moving or talking. They also hear something that sounds like chewing or moving their mouth. After asking a question, some sort of faint whisper can be heard right before the next question is asked.
If so, who was the one who murdered you?
Unfortunately, it's too difficult to decipher what, if anything, is being said, as it is too quiet. After nothing else seems to come through, finally the group uses an actual spirit box, which automatically and rapidly changes stations so quickly you can't hear what is being said by the program. Ronan asks if anyone can tell what happened and if there was an event of a life being taken. Soon after, a voice comes through with what sounds like yes, immediately followed by what sounds like someone died. Soon, a male voice comes through with what Ronan thinks sounds like "wasn't me."
There's so much activity now.
The moment that is guaranteed to send chills down your spine is when a woman, either laughing, crying, or possibly screaming, can be heard. The investigation wraps soon after, and Ronan leaves with what could be considered valuable evidence. The event that occurred in the home has left an imprint, and not just the stain on the floor. A group of ghost hunters are exploring a notoriously haunted retirement home in Ohio at 1 a.m. when they manage to find something strange and unsettling.
To the bathroom. Here it is again at half speed.
One of the ghost hunters barely manages to catch this fleeting shadow while turning around. The room to the right is completely empty and nobody is inside, plus everybody else is in a different section of the house. It doesn't look like the camera is simply adjusting to different lighting conditions, so there really is absolutely no reason for a shadow to be on the right side of the screen like that. To me, it looks like something is possibly making a quick escape. It's a full moon, and a YouTuber who goes by the name of Al Capone is in the most hectic cemetery I have ever seen. He can't even explain what he's been through without getting interrupted.
Okay, things moving behind tombstones while I was driving.
Then listen to this at 4 minutes and 52 seconds.
No, behind me.
Oh, you heard it behind you? I heard it.
No, I heard what was by you, but I'm saying by the cars, like...
Al is talking when another man's voice speaks at the same time. What they hear a minute and a half later leaves their mouths hanging open. I mean, this could be neighbors from some of the nearby houses, except there's really no reason for anybody to be shouting near the cemetery in the middle of the night. Plus, the direction these voices are coming from is deeper in the cemetery, away from the houses and closer to the woods. And since this video was made in the middle of January 2020, I doubt anyone was out there camping. If you saw someone in a window just standing and staring, what would you think? Would you consider it abnormal? Would you be concerned about their mental state? These Lithuanians saw this strange staring man as cause for concern when they posted this video to their YouTube channel. Reposted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Martillo, the Redditor writes, couple of Lithuanian YouTubers are driving with other couple friends around the city and they come across this strange guy in his apartment. They're saying that he maybe is possessed. The windows in the building across from the Lithuanian's car are all darkened, apart from one brightly lit window on the second floor. There stands a man appearing to stare out into the night, oddly still. Upon closer inspection, the man looks like he's rolling his head around, before turning to the side and staring off again. He stares forward for a time, this having gone on for a solid minute, before turning around and switching off the light in his apartment, likely because he notices the men outside are shining their light up at his window, watching him. Martillo notes that although the men in the video are laughing, the image of someone staring out their window blankly is somewhat scary. He says the behavior is strange. Well, that may be so. You could argue the same for the behavior of the occupants of this car. Do you believe in teleportation? This video may convince you. Published to YouTube by Esocentric and Paranormal World in February of 2019. This dashcam video shows a figure teleporting into the middle of a busy street, resulting in a traffic mishap. In the clip, vehicles are barreling down a highway when all of a sudden, a figure dressed in black seems to fall through a glitch in the matrix and right onto the scene. The white vehicle in front of the source with the dashcam moves out of the way just in time, avoiding the figure by mere feet. The teleporting figure moves off to the side, but is seen bending over, as if sick, or maybe as if to crouch down out of view. The driver gets out of his vehicle, but doesn't approach the teleporter. The car with the dashcam simply drives off. It's unclear if any investigation into the strange occurrence followed. Mapabare in the comments suggests this person got out of the car. Others agree that the man either jumped out, fell out, or was forced out. If that's the case though, wouldn't you see a car door fling open? All the doors on this vehicle appear to be closed the entire time. It's a conundrum, but don't worry, we have plenty of time to figure this one out. Nursing homes are rife with elderly spirits that just cannot move on. This surveillance footage may have caught one of them, posted to YouTube by Rice RV4 in September of 2012. This clip is surveillance footage of the Niles Nursing Center, as indicated by the sign in the hallway. The clip shows the elevator door drawing open with no one exiting. Then off to the right, what appears to be a cane slides across the floor in the hallway. It also moves to one side apparently on its own, before several people are seen passing through the hallway. And someone finally picks the cane up and places it out of harm's way, leaning it against the wall. The cane then disappears altogether without anyone making an appearance. YouTube commenters suggest that the ghost may have been trying to trip people with the placement of the cane. One commenter in particular, Siege Crows, suggests that they have some inside info on the case. He writes, "Super surprised that this got out after how hard the nurses and the people are trying to keep it a secret." In response to this, YouTuber Silent Night Crew states that he was an off-duty cop working security the night that this happened, and the man who leaked it was fired. Whether or not this is true, I think it's safe to say you wouldn't want to be working security when something like this happens. Here's a freaky sighting. Imagine you're playing guitar with your friends when something decides to pay a visit. Published by Navigon in November of 2007, this creepy video shows some dudes practicing in a bedroom. One is playing the guitar, the other is singing, and the third is recording the session. But as it turns out, there's a fourth uninvited guest nearby. As they continue to play, the friend filming the session takes a broader shot of the singer, and towering in the doorway behind him is a seemingly tall man, standing sentry and staring into the room. In the comments of this video, David F.E. writes, "It's a humanoid being about 7 feet tall, not a ghost. Many people have reported them before." Whatever the case, in the moment, the friend filming doesn't spot the humanoid. The three continue their session without any reaction, and the next time the cameraman pans over, the figure is gone. They must have spotted the humanoid later in the playback, a humanoid that was so close he could have touched them. What would you do if you saw this over your friend's shoulder? Shadows can be tricky things. Sometimes they're natural, other times they lean more towards the paranormal. This one seems to be the latter. Posted on Reddit by user Ukire. The Redditor writes that he still has goosebumps after receiving this clip. Some in the comments admitted to being upset with yet another orb post, but then, after watching it all the way through, their yearning for nightmare fuel was rewarded. Although it just looks like the still image of a cell. Wait for it, and wait for it, and wait for it some more, and you just might be rewarded too. The Redditor wrote that his friend works the night shift here at this institution in a former police station. The room where this is filmed is not in current use, but in the past was a place where people checked out of custody. Some in the comments say the video looks legit, others pointed out a creepy long face that makes a split-second appearance. Most in the thread comes to a consensus that this happenstance is very creepy and goosebump-inducing. Could it be a haunting, or something worse? Whatever it might be, it's certainly mysterious. There's something in this house, and they might be demons.
No.
Hey! أعوذ بالله! أعوذ بالله! Hey!
The first one he captures on camera is pretty obvious, but he doesn't seem to see it. The second one is playing peekaboo.
Bismillah. Bismillah. Bismillah.
Hey!
And the last one.
أعوذ بالله!
Do you hear that roar? Well, I'm wondering what these creatures are. Most in the comments are chuffed at this dude's terrified scream. My vote is for demons, but it could be some other type of evil entity. Any ideas? A woman with an octopus on her face tries to laugh it off despite her extreme fear. What does she say here? It's mercifully hanging out of her mouth for now, but if it moves in any further, then it would be reaching down her throat. She is one wrong move away from having her oxygen cut off. Its tentacles squirm around her eyes and across her tongue as she screams and pulls the creature free with one last burst of strength. The octopus itself looks like it came straight out of the ocean. I can only imagine how disgusting the lingering aftertaste must have been. A YouTuber called Survival Life tracks a gigantic snake across his local soccer field. I'm guessing that he must have been using a selfie stick to get this up close, but then again, it wouldn't surprise me if his hands and fingers were only inches away when this happened. Eventually, Survival Life backs off and leaves the snake alone, and I'm curious as to what kind of snake this was. I can tell by the tropical tree line that this video was taken somewhere near a jungle, in which case this snake could definitely be poisonous. Some of Survival Life's fans are saying that this was a cobra, and I just wanted to confirm what type of cobra this was. That way, we would know if Survival Life was risking a hospital trip or even his life here. It's a little past 3 a.m. and this video is about to get weird, so I'll try to explain things as best I can. For a second, the doorbell camera goes out of focus, and then this weird thing floats across. Not an orb, not a bug, not a bird, no wings that I can see. It's just a big out-of-place anomaly that the uploader of this video was unable to explain, and I fear I can't do much better. If you've seen anything like this go across your Ring doorbell camera or any other doorbell cameras, then explain what this object floating by was. I'm not the only one who would like to know. Some people like their onion rings extra crispy, but not when the added crunch is because of this.
And I got some nice roaches in my onion rings here.
They are so small that they kind of almost blend in until you see the tiny shriveled up legs. But I mean, if you were eating this meal straight out of the bag and concentrating on the road, you might not even notice them at all. Again, this is one of those videos that I regret coming across because I realized how easily it could have happened to anyone watching. As awful as it sounds, I doubt this customer was the only person who got served a big batch of fried bugs that day. This one took me a few tries before I could see what they were talking about. Watch the shoulder lane on the left, and soon you'll see the shadowy outline of a mysterious figure.
Was that a person?
I have little doubt that this video is real and not edited, so the question becomes whether or not this was an actual spirit. Notice how the figure is devoid of all features, a strong sign of the paranormal, and maybe it's just because they are passing by at a high rate of speed, but I can almost see right through them. The entire lower half of their body is practically invisible. Annie Bennett and her boyfriend move into this old farmhouse 2.5 years ago and have been experiencing a lot of strange happenings ever since, particularly in this blue dining room. The instruments tend to play by themselves over the years, but for some reason this piano has been getting all of the attention lately, so it's where they decide to set up the camera. Hardly anything at all happens in part 1, which is 10 minutes long and slow enough to elicit some angry comments from people too impatient to get all the way through. But then there's some good moments that I want to point out, like how at 4 minutes and 17 seconds there's a strange light on the wall for absolutely no reason. It doesn't look like a laser pointer and it never happens again. Then the clock strikes 2:19 a.m. and mysteriously pops open. I see no string and no other way for them to have done this, but maybe you do. I suppose now is a more appropriate time to share more about the history of this farmhouse. There used to be an old woman who lived here all by herself. They say at 2:19 in the morning was the exact moment when she is said to have passed on. She was said to have been musically gifted. At 2:19 is also where the Spencer piano seemingly plays by itself. So this high note is conveniently coming from a key that's not even on camera. Obviously Annie or her boyfriend have to be sitting off to the side, or at least that's what I thought until I saw this next part. Okay, so that's not supposed to happen. I'm thinking that maybe the piano wires are worn out and old, which can sometimes cause a note to play by itself, but I don't think that's why, because nothing like this happened for a full 10 minutes prior. This tray and clock move at the same time. One of them could have pulled the tray by the corner that's off camera, sure, but the way the clocks open is something I can't explain. And as the night wears on, the spirit becomes stronger, able to play more. Please tell me this piano is one of the old-fashioned types that can play by itself, otherwise I have absolutely no idea how this is possible. And even if it can play by itself, I've never seen a piano that can do what it does at 5 minutes and 49 seconds. Self-playing? Maybe. Self-shutting? No way. I guess Annie could have slammed the lid shut while off camera, but after this reflection fades away like someone is sitting down, I can safely say I've officially run out of rational explanations and can only assume this to be paranormal. And I don't care if someone is sitting off camera or not, there's no way for them to play a piano with the lid on. I can't even explain half of these paranormal occurrences, so I have to conclude that this farmhouse is almost definitely haunted by someone who refuses to accept that they've passed on.
This CCTV video captures some strange activity after hours, beginning with the pages of this magazine that move all on their own, almost like someone is flipping them just like any other day in the waiting room. You probably thought this was the work of a ghost, and I did too, but if so, then you and I are both wrong. In the center of the room forms a swirling tornado. Look at how the chairs move at exactly 1 minute. The ones in the eye of the storm are safe for a little bit longer. This is definitely a tornado and not the work of a spirit. But how does a tornado seemingly form in the middle of a room? Maybe this is a poltergeist destroying the whole building after all.
This YouTuber is fairly sure that he's captured a ghost on his dash cam when he's traveling down a suburban road and sees reflective lights on the right. Watch the parked car on the right to see what I mean.
So you know.
Yeah.
I personally think it looks like someone could be stepping into his line of movement here. It happens quickly, so I'll play it again in slow motion. Let me know if you see it. But when he pulls up to where the lights were, he and his friends are surprised to find nothing's there.
Where did it go? They walked in front of the car, right?
Yeah, it was like a wheelchair or something.
Both of them swear they saw the lights and thought someone was crossing the street. I guess his headlights could have been reflecting off of the parked car, but then again, the angle doesn't exactly seem to match up. Let me know if you see it and what you think it could have been. A YouTuber named Roy Flores has a strange encounter over the skies of New Jersey when he sees a mysterious aircraft hovering near the overpass he's driving on.
Look, the whole street is stopped. There's a flying spaceship.
And he's not the only one who sees it. Dozens of other cars have pulled over and people are getting out to take video of this strange phenomenon with their cameras, each wondering if this is the moment we finally made contact. A Goodyear blimp is the official explanation for this scary event, but I have serious doubts. I mean, you'd think all these people would know the difference between a blimp, which we've all seen, and something truly bizarre instead. A lot of people are saying this is a cover story for this strange sighting in the sky. Well, I think this design looks way too creepy to be some kind of company blimp.
Don't start going. Stop! Stop! Please, go! Okay. Put on the brakes!
A bus driver in Alfred, New York was accused of drinking and driving and was given a 90-day jail sentence. The event was caught on camera after 56-year-old Martha Thompson was ordered by students to stop operating the bus, an order that was ignored. There were 37 students on the bus after Thompson took them at a 70-mile-per-hour clip through their journey, hit a mailbox, and even started rolling backwards down a hill, as can be seen in the video. The older students tried to convince Thompson to stop, but she was defiant. They kept insisting that she was not okay and should turn off the vehicle. When she continued to refuse, they accused her of scaring the small children on the bus, which she was. When she also refused to open the door, the older kids took matters into their own hands and began shepherding the students out the back door emergency exit, while Thompson repeatedly shouted, "You can't get off the bus." Thompson's defense attorney said she never ever would intentionally put any of those children in any type of risk. The fact that my client has no criminal history. No one was injured, but this has been a really good thing because it's turned her life around, and now she's getting the help that she needs. While it's all very well and good that the driver is getting help, her blood alcohol level was 0.15. The DMV notes a BAC of 0.04 for commercial drivers can result in a DUI or DWI conviction nationwide. She's incredibly lucky that no children were harmed in this incident of negligence. Time to break out the sage again. Posted to TikTok by Ratliff Wife, this ring security footage was captured at around 9:30 p.m. in March of 2022. The video shows the front porch of a home. After a moment, a dark shadow moves across the camera. The shadow reappears several times over the course of a minute. Several bugs appear in the clip, but they are clear. Nothing looks like this shadow. The uploader says their dog was also growling in the room at the time this video was captured. Did it sense something? Some in the comments think so, with Carolyn Mulhall writing, "Pets know, better start praying." And it's true that many people swear that pets seem to have an easier time seeing the paranormal than humans. Remember that footage of the raging Eagle Creek forest fire? Just imagine being in the middle of it, driving right through the very center. While driving, I can only imagine they're wondering whether or not they'll live through this horror, or maybe they've already gone to the other side. In the video, you can barely see the road as smoke rises all over and hellish fire springs up along the roadside. Sparks of embers fly across the windshield, making the viewer feel like they're in the center of a fire pit. You can also see specks of black ash flick across the window. Finally, they make it onto the main road and make a break for it. Although it's still very smoky, slowly but surely the smoke vanishes as they escape the fire zone. That was one scary and wild ride. Another structure that's prime real estate for a haunting: hospitals. Posted to YouTube by Ogden Paranormal in September of 2019. The group of paranormal investigators explores Old 2L Hospital, one of Utah's most haunted places. Samuel Lee built the structure as a resident in 1873. His family lived there until 1913, after which it was remodeled into a home for the elderly and those with special needs. Some called it the county poorhouse. The old 2L hospital closed down in 2000, with half of it serving as an elderly care unit, while the other half serves as Asylum 49. Although Anderson was skeptical about the site's paranormal activity at first, his research into the hospital prompted him and his wife to contact paranormal researchers to investigate the site in 2007. Upon exploring the building, the UGO, or Utah Ghost Organization, documented thousands of EVPs and captured pictures and video footage of mists, apparitions, shadows, orbs, and other seemingly paranormal activity. Now, the 2L Hospital is the scene of private ghost searches twice a year, from January to July. So what sort of spirits haunt this hospital? The nurse spirit, Maria, is said to guard a spiritual portal in the hospital that is believed to lead to another world. Another ghost that haunts the hospital goes by the name of Wes. This patient appears scared and confused, as it's said that the real Wes had Alzheimer's at the time of his passing. Ghost West haunts the room that he stayed when he was alive, as well as the nearby hallway. A medium tried to assist West in crossing over, but was hindered by some dark entity that always remains close by. With this background in mind, without further ado, let's get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Ogden writes, "We've investigated here a few times in the past and captured incredible evidence, but our last visit scared us so bad that we ended up leaving early. Now we return to this location to face whoever or whatever ran us out of the building all those years ago. This time, the group's visit includes light anomalies, particularly the entire operating room lighting up and a strange light appearing in the nursery. Strange sounds are heard at 10 minutes 13 seconds and 10 minutes 15 seconds.
Where you at, Wes? Where you at, Wes?
And all the mannequins set up around the hospital don't help one bit. Creepiness is given an edge by those inert bodies. At around 17 minutes 37 seconds as well, it looks as if a foot appears on camera in the bottom left corner. Disembodied voices go unexplained. The entire video makes you wonder if this is paranormal's resting place. A gut feeling, a sensation is almost worse than the reality itself. Say you're alone in the forest, the hair stands up on the back of your neck. You get the sensation that something is watching you. What do? Druid Raven Scout published this video in August of 2015, explaining this very scenario. Well, he packed up his bags to leave the forest. He said he felt something that he couldn't explain, a gut feeling that something or someone was following him. He said he felt threatening sensations as he walked the path over a couple of hours. He had planned on staying in the forest another night, but his intuition was telling him not to. During the 18-minute video, he explains that he feels like he's being observed. He also says he heard something strange up in the trees as he walked the path earlier. He does manage to escape the forest without meeting his stalker, but not without shaking the feeling that something certainly was watching. What would you do if you saw this happening in your home? Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Raymond Powell. Raymond writes, "Not proof, but it definitely freaked me out. Looking for advice. A screwdriver sitting on the counter is moving on its own with no one and nothing near it to cause such behavior. Raymond runs over to the cupboard, opening it to see if there's anything under the counter that might trigger it. He turns up nothing. Picking up the screwdriver, he looks around his home. When he starts hearing random pounding coming from above, he gets his step stool to open the hatch above his attic. He calls out a greeting, but catches nothing up there on camera. While some in the comments were waiting for a jump scare, others, like Redditor Everything is Dumb 0624, were trying to find answers. You either got a ghost or a person living in your crawl space, he writes. I'm not sure which one would be worse. An invisible force has taken this man by the scruff of his neck, published in December of 2019. At the beginning of the video, the cameraman and another man off screen are yelling at each other.
你打鸡巴电话你啊！你打啥电话？
At a distance, a short figure in white appears to be standing in a dark doorway. Its features are indistinguishable. The two continue yelling at each other until the cameraman turns around and starts running away from the figure in the doorway. As he does, the friend who was yelling is captured on camera holding a flashlight, but suddenly he is thrown to the ground, and as if a mysterious invisible force is acting upon him, the man is dragged away. The cameraman runs toward him to help, and it appears as if he is thrown to the ground too. Mayhem ensues as they both try to fight it off. They finally manage to break away and they start hurrying off, but the cameraman doesn't get far. He is thrown to the ground and dragged again through the ice and snow. He struggles with the force before being pulled, this time into a room. He manages to escape and run away, and when he turns to look back, there's a small figure in the doorway again. What is this force? Where was it taking him? He'd better leave now, or it might just get him this time. When this early riser arrived at work at 6 a.m., she didn't expect to find her first customer waiting. Posted to TikTok by The Blaze Beauty, the worker exits the kitchen and enters the cafe area, revealing a figure standing just outside the front window. She walks toward it. At first, you can't tell if the figure is facing away from or toward the window, but as she steps closer, it looks like the figure is facing toward it, though you cannot see its face. The figure then slams the window with one gloved hand. What is this thing?
Bro. What? Oh, girl. Oh my.
And what does it even want? Many in the comments are shocked that she even approached. Others think he's harmless and just wants a burger. What do you think? It's the window slam that makes me feel like their intentions are nefarious. A YouTuber named All-in-One Gaming is watching television when a flash of light catches his eye. He looks out his window only to see a shady person trying to gain entry to a nearby shed. All-in-One Gaming is stunned by the situation for a full minute before he remembers that he has motion sensor lights. He quickly activates them and sends the intruder running.
I turn on the light. Holy shit.
It is not clear if this person is simply looking to take property, or if they are one of his thousands of fans who somehow got his home address. If this was a stalker, then who knows what they would have done if they had gotten to him. Crazy EVPs and spiritual mists run amok in the haunted Skinner's Tavern. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit, Paranormal Purgatory writes, "We captured what looks like a spirit trying to manifest in the doorway." They also captured some insane dialogues with the Beyond as they attempted to communicate with the spirits inside this haunted place.
See it for a little bit. See it for a little bit. See if we can hear anything.
After an EVP translates a spirit whispering, "All pretty I am," a partial manifestation is caught in this doorway.
Okay. Oh, critic mode. Okay. Oh, critic mode. I think it's this button.
Right in the middle of the entry, you can see a trace of a ghostly mist as the camera pans round. The Redditor doesn't appear to notice it in the moment, as he calmly asks the house at large if he can get a drink. Don't blame him, he's probably gonna need a drink again when he plays this back. Scary Surreal Places in Time Lapse is a YouTube channel that speeds up raw footage of odd and interesting locations in search of anything out of the ordinary. They are recording a pure at random when this strange creature comes rushing towards them. I would say this is just a fish, but the animal clearly starts on land and paddles to them before submerging at the last second. They shine their lights around both sides of the pier, but whatever it was is long gone. The animal is very small, but the wide wake left in its path suggests that it's much more powerful than it seems. Leave me your best guess as to what this could be, because even the uploaders of this video have never seen anything move like it before, and they themselves are not sure what it was. It's not fun in games anymore when something like this happens. Posted to the Very Spooky Video subreddit by AdamGray59. The Redditor is wondering if this is poltergeist activity. In the video, some gamers are playing Call of Duty, and the gamer on screen appears to have gone for a bathroom or snack break. His chair is empty, or maybe it isn't. The chair starts swiveling quietly around. Of course, this unnerves the player on the opposite side of the screen. Is a ghost occupying this chair? Redditor Tommy MCY in the comments says, it's a gamer ghost. while others are more skeptical, saying things like chairs simply do that on their own. So, gamer ghost or just an off-kilter chair? I'd like to think a ghost was at the controls. These two unidentified flying object sightings are eerily similar, posted on Reddit by Gamers Again. These two sightings from Miami and Beijing are comparative. The first appeared in Beijing on February 3rd, 1995. The unidentified flying object hovers as an illuminated yellow disc in the evening sky. After a while, it starts to glide slowly overhead. Gamers Again posts a second video in the comments, one which looks similar to the first but was captured on October 20th, 1995. This unidentified flying object was spotted along a freeway. The driver pulled over to capture it hovering near an apartment complex and then over Miami Airport. Gamers Again suggests that today, unidentified flying objects aren't seen as often for a reason. His theory? They have become more cautious, and further said, they seem to be extremely aware of us observing them, and above all, they don't want to be compromised. What do you think? It makes sense to me, and these two sightings are certainly quite similar. A YouTuber named Shanen Sarmi is excited to travel to California, but far less enthusiastic about her flight, specifically her window, which is not sitting in place and makes this unsettling noise.
Going through the window and I didn't tell anyone.
By the time she lands, the first of the 2 layers of glass has slid down enough to poke her finger through. It looks like she is sticking her hand out of the plane, but she actually isn't. There is one more layer of glass that is hard to see, but still, the thickness of the window is now halved. She notices something was wrong with her window during the flight, but did not tell anyone until the very end, not wanting to cause a panic. I see where she is coming from, and she might have just been too shy and scared to speak up, but I personally think she should have said something, because they might have needed to make an emergency landing to fix it. She was trying to keep everyone calm by not telling, but looking at the condition of the window, I think it could have put everyone's lives in danger, but above all else, I'm just glad that she and everyone else was okay. Sometimes when you get that feeling that you're being watched, you may discover you are. Posted by Kuno to TikTok, this footage was filmed in Kuno's room, and according to him, no one was home at the time. When creating a video, you're usually pretty oblivious to what's going on around you as you focus in on the task at hand. That's what Kuno appears to be doing as he sings his heart out, but look behind him in the doorway and your heart might skip a beat as you see what appears to be a mysterious figure. The black outline pops up over his shoulder, backlit by some white light, while Kuno remains completely unaware of its presence. The form lingers for a moment before disappearing out of sight once again. It's difficult to discern who or what this figure is, but if you've ever watched a scary movie in your life, you're probably shouting at Kuno to stop singing and turn around. This footage shows that whether or not you think you are home alone, you may be entirely wrong in that assumption. It's after midnight and a YouTuber named Angie, the Green-Eyed Angel, is exploring a ghost town that is completely abandoned. She isn't even finished the introduction to her video before weird stuff starts happening. It took me a couple of listens, but I can actually hear the wind whispering her name here.
Abandoned ghost town. Hopefully you can see it behind me. I swear, I just heard my name.
Apparently the wind has other things to say as well.
What is that?
Strange noises continue to follow Angie as she sneaks through old buildings filled with spiderwebs and rotting architecture. After about 20 minutes of exploring, Angie stops and thinks she sees a grayish figure looking back at her.
Oh, I don't know if the camera can even see it.
Footsteps from behind send her screaming into the night. This phantom is on a shopping spree. Published by Phantom Encounter in April of 2020, security footage captured some strange activity in the shop after hours. A meditation book is thrown to the floor from a stand next to the owner's desk. A moment later, a loud noise is heard off screen, like something has been dropped to the floor. The owner says she's familiar with this noise because it happens frequently. One of the handmade lampshades has been thrown to the floor. What do you think is going on here? Jones Margaret writes in the comments, considering the age of the building and its history along with the age of the buildings around you, it isn't surprising that you have so many ghosts. I have to agree, this activity does seem to suit the environment. Yet another Randonautica exploration turned scary. Posted to TikTok by Autumn Johnson. This two-part series will keep you on your toes. Autumn writes that the app first took them to a dirt road leading deep into the forest. At the destination, they searched around only to find the roof of a house sticking out of the ground. When they looked inside, they discovered it was a Native American spirit house. The Ojibwe housed the graves of those passed away in stone structures. Their houses are built to honor their families and offerings are made there. These traditional spirit houses are, more or less, simply grave sites. Some TikTokers remark that it's important to respect these sacred grounds, and that's for sure. TikToker Jack of All Trades writes, so long as you didn't touch anything, you should be okay, but if you did, I'm so sorry for you. A YouTuber named Jeff Saxton is playing with his Ouija board all alone one Friday night. He asks if any spirits are around him and immediately gets a positive response. He contemplates quitting but decides he owes it to his viewers to keep going. He's in the middle of asking some routine questions when all of a sudden this happens.
What the... Yo, guys. Ow! Fuck! Ow!
His pointer slips away and something knocks over his camera. Jeff Saxton steadies the camera and refocuses it on 3 tiny claw marks, now adorning his right arm. It's hard to say if these are fresh marks or just old scratches from a cat or something like that, so give me your best guess as to whether this video is real or fake. Have you ever got the feeling that you're being followed? Poppy's Paradise posted this footage to Reddit writing, "Something is following me." The guy in the clip says he was driving when he noticed something outside in the darkness. He stopped his car on the side of the road to film whatever it is, and he shouts a greeting to the figure outside the window.
There's something up here. Hello?
As he drives slowly past, the something that he saw following him comes into view. The figure looks like a girl straight out of The Ring, dressed in white with long black hair. The ghastly creature is seen only for a moment before the clip ends. Is this thing truly following him? We can only hope this was his only sighting. You would need serious courage to stay calm in a situation like this. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.